Hello, my name is Paul Arnold. I'm one of the chaplains here at Glacier Hills Senior Living in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Thank you for joining me. This is the show I put together each week called Living with Hope. In each show I share a little heavenly humor, some corny jokes, 3 things that are on my mind, which are things that I've seen on the internet or things that have come to me that I want to share with you. And I have some really cool videos to share with you today. And then I'm going to have my next segment, my favorite things. This week it involves a lot about my father. And then the last segment today is going to be an interview, a shortened edited video with Eric Tremonti, who is the videographer and editor of Under the Radar, which is a television show produced out of Detroit Public Television. So thank you for joining me today. I'm going to share with you some heavenly humor. These are jokes that I've shared with our community worship group that meets every Wednesday when we have our normal schedule activities, and boy, do I miss that group of people. So the first joke is this. Gary was having a yard sale, and a minister bought a lawnmower but returned it a few days later, complaining it wouldn't run. "It'll run," said Gary, "but you have to curse at it to get it started." The minister was shocked. "I have not uttered a curse in 30 years, he said. Gary said, "Oh, just keep pulling on the starter rope. The words will come back to you." The next joke is this. A police recruit was asked during an exam, a police recruit, somebody who wants to be a police officer, was asked during the exam, "What would you do if you had to arrest your own mother?" He answered, "Call for backup." And we're coming up on Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all the ladies in our community here. These are things my mother taught me, or it's something I found on the internet. My mother taught me logic. If you fall off that swing and break your neck, you can't go to the store with me. My mother taught me medicine. If you don't stop crossing your eyes, they're gonna freeze that way. My mother taught me how to become an adult. If you don't eat your vegetables, you'll never grow up. My mother taught me about genetics. You are just like your father. My mother taught me about my roots. Do you think you were born in a barn? My mother taught me about the wisdom of age. When you get to be my age, you will understand. My mother taught me about anticipation. Just wait till your father gets home. And my all-time favorite, justice. My mother taught me about justice. One day you'll have kids, and I hope they turn out just like you. Then you'll see what it's like. So the next segment is 3 things on my mind. Three things on my mind. I focus on things I've paid attention to. And this week I sent out an email to the other colleagues or staff in the Glacier Hills community because they're missing you as residents. I know the residents are missing them. And I said, send me some videos, whatever you want, and I'll look at it and share it with the residents. Last week we had Anna Marie Satterley share a little video of her reading a book to her twin sons and them singing What a Wonderful Life. And this week I have several videos. One is from Jen Barsh, who's our Director of Marketing and Sales. She sent me a video about her son Griffin. And then I have a video from Jamie Lalonde, our administrator. And then the third video is one that's been put together by Lauren from our dining services, which is a really nice video. So enjoy these videos.
Hey, Coach Bergen popping up again for another award. This one is the Most Improved Swimmer Award. This year, it goes to a young man who definitely deserves it, and his improvement, his work ethic was inspiring to me. As some evidence, his sophomore year, the 500 free went 6:21. By his junior year, he dropped that to 5:18, and then his senior year, 5:09, which is incredible. Similarly, in the 100 breaststroke, he went from 1:16 his sophomore year, 1:08 junior year, and a 1:05 this year. Congratulations, Griffin Barst.
Sit still.
Are you all right? I knew it was the time you were going down.
The moon is a silver dollar shining up in the sky. There's a dream we can buy, sweetheart, you and I. The moon is a silver dollar made for lovers to share. And with you in my arms, I'm a millionaire.
My second thing on my mind is my daughter. She's usually one of the top things on my mind, but this time of year I think about her because she just bought a house in Holland, Michigan, and she bought a house on a road where they plant some of those tulips because this is the time of year they have the tulip festival. Unfortunately, had to cancel, but I decided to call her on Zoom and record a little video for you with me talking to my daughter, Kelly. So you have tulips in the front of your house, don't you?
I do. I have pretty pink tulips. Dare I say that they're garden party pink tulips.
Very nice. So how many different color tulips are in Holland?
I think I read something the other day that said there are over 70 varieties.
70 varieties of colors of tulips.
Wow. Yesterday I went for a nice long walk in the sunshine and I saw yellow, orange, red, dark purple, white, pink, yellow. Did I say yellow? Yeah, different shades of pink. Yeah, there were some that are kind of mixed colors, like pink on the outside, white in the middle.
So
Very
even
pretty.
though the tulip festival is canceled this year, how many cars are you seeing drive by your house?
Not too many by my house specifically, just because I don't know how much people know this route, but definitely in the bigger areas, and especially on the weekends, you see lots of people. Like this weekend, it was kind of like, are you guys keeping your distance? But it was fun to see people out and about, and yeah, no, it's nice because I think this year finally all the locals are able to enjoy it a little bit without as much of the crowds. I saw a post on Facebook that was a cartoon of the tulips coming up, and there was like they popped up and they're like, hey, where's my big party?
I bet a few people on the tulip route who have houses set up lawn chairs to watch the crowd go by.
Oh, if they live nearby some of the big stuff, I bet. Yeah, I mean, the tulips in front of our house are pretty, but I don't think enough people know where all the tulips are, except for like Windmill Island or throughout downtown.
And how much is the penalty if they catch you cutting a tulip this time of year?
You know, I've never had it confirmed, but rumor is it's a $500 fine if you pick a tulip.
I heard it was 500. The last thing on my mind is a YouTube video that shows the love and passion that teachers have for their students. And this is a professor from St. Olaf College, and he is very good at music and singing. I think you'll be impressed by his singing in this video.
It's been a rough few weeks, I bet you feel the same. We've been working every day, but we're just not on our game. Our life is pretty dull without our normal routine. Our dearest holy orchestra, where have you all been? We miss our Orkies, that's certainly true. Since you've been away, we're definitely feeling blue. We miss making music, the kind that's profound. Those melodies, those harmonies, that glorious sound. That sound. Yet, we feel that gratitude, abundant gratitude. We're so grateful to have you Orkies in our lives. We feel that gratitude, abundant gratitude. We're so lucky to have you Orkies in our lives. Yes, in our lives. We miss our dearest Orkies every minute of each day. We lament the lack of music ringing where we used to play. Perhaps we took for granted all our time in CHM, playing Mahler and Stravinsky and of course Beethoven. The music we've been sharing with you talented folks, with you big-hearted Orkies who even laugh at our jokes. Our memories are splendid and they'll carry us through, but we wish you could come back because all we have are these kazoos. Dear seniors, you are special and we wish you Godspeed. We're your biggest fans and we all know that you will succeed. We hope you will stay safe and well and be of good cheer. We'll keep you in our hearts because to us you're so dear. We feel such gratitude, abundant gratitude. We're so grateful to have you Orkies in our lives. We feel that gratitude, that grateful attitude. We're so lucky to have you Orkies, lucky to have you Orkies, lucky to have you Orkies in our, yes, in our lives.
Fourth week of my favorite things. The first week was going on trips with my family. The second week was fishing. The third week was hiking. And finally, my fourth week is about golfing. Once again, it has to do with nature and family. When I was 8 years old, I was given a used set of golf clubs from our neighbor. The clubs were shortened for a son, and now they were given to me. It was a starter set with only 4 irons, 2 woods, and a putter. But to me it meant so much because now I could go out with my dad and play golf at Curry Golf Course, our public golf course in Midland, Michigan. I wasn't very good, but I kept practicing and watching my favorite golfer on TV, Jack Nicklaus. Like Jack, I had blonde hair, and I was sort of pudgy. As a boy, my father would tell stories of being a caddy at Oakland Hills Golf Course in the 1940s. There were over 100 caddies, and my dad would hike or take the bus up to the golf course. Some days my father would carry 2 golf bags for 2 players for 18 holes. He would get a bigger tip and often a lunch from the players. He said the best lunches were hamburger, fries, and a chocolate shake. My dad was proud that he made it up to the number 4 caddy out of 100. Later my dad went to Alma College in 1950. He received a $100 scholarship to play golf. When I was 13, I received a full set of McGregor golf clubs as a Christmas gift, and my dad and I continued to play during the summers. My dad died in 2005. When we moved back to Michigan in 2002, my family, my wife, and my kids, I thought we would have plenty of time to play golf, my dad and I. But his death was sudden, and I remember some of the best conversations about life and being a man, a husband, and father happened when we were on the golf course. My son David was 3 when I had him swinging a plastic golf club. David is now 28, married, and has 3 daughters. David and I played a lot when he was growing up, and now he doesn't have much time as he is a law student at Toledo University. When we do play golf, I treasure the time alone with him, and we talk about my dad at times.
When I was younger, I thought I would become a better golfer if I played more. I was very competitive and wanted to play to a lower score. Now, golf is just fun because I share it with others. I love the times when we have played here at Glacier Hills for a charity event. 2 years ago, there was a charity event at Oakland Hills where my dad caddied, and it was a dream come true to play there, and believe it or not, our foursome won a trophy. My dad would have been very happy.
Tremonti from Under the Radar, the TV show, several years ago, as I was looking into the possibility of having connected living here and also an in-house community TV channel, and I was curious to get some advice about what kind of equipment to buy, and from his recommendation I bought the camera we're using now and the microphones, and so he was a great help to us, and I thought I would call him on Zoom and do an interview. Now our interview went about 40 minutes, so here's a shortened version of it. Hello, welcome back to Living with Hope. I'm joined by Eric Tremonti, who works for Under the Radar, one of my favorite shows on Detroit Public Television. And Eric is wearing a nice hat that reminds me that some people are out fishing today. Doggone it, I wish I could be one of them. But Eric has been helping me before this whole COVID virus started. I reached out to him almost a year ago asking some questions about what would it take to get some camera equipment and some training so we could do an in-house TV channel here at Glacier Hills. And Eric, now we call it GHTV.
I like it.
Original, but it works. And so Eric suggested this nice camera above my shoulder back here, which has been saving the day for me, a real basic workhorse of a camera. So I'm going to ask Eric some questions about the TV show, because I imagine most of you in Glacier Hills have seen Detroit Public Television, have seen Eric's work and didn't even realize it. And so I'm going to ask some basic questions. So Eric, how did you get started working for Under the Radar?
So the first part of my career out of college, I worked in advertising, and I served, I got into producing commercials and radio and television in advertising. And that's a specialty within working at an advertising agency. And from that, I moved on and I started working at a post-production facility, which is a company that does editing and graphics of commercials. So clients would bring us footage and we put together commercials. Always as a producer. So people always ask what producers do, and I always say that producers get a bunch of work done without actually doing any of the work themselves. And
a delegator.
A delegator, pretty much. I knew how all the pieces come together, but I wasn't necessarily holding a camera or editing footage. But I was around that process. So when I actually joined Under the Radar, I had never been a cameraman. I had never edited. But I had sat in, hundreds of hours of editing time, behind an editor who was pushing the buttons. So I kind of had a working knowledge of how things came together, how things should look, how things should be shot.
Now, Under the Radar has been around for almost 9 years, right?
We are in our 10th season right now.
Wow.
So it's been over 9 years, not fully 10 yet, but.
What's changed the most over the 10 years?
I'll start with a lot of the things that haven't changed, is kind of our formula for how we tell stories. And, we're a very, slim down, we're three guys that come into a place where it's not, trucks with equipments and lights. And we found that, by doing that, the people that we're talking to are less tense. The longer you're there setting up, the less natural they feel. Whereas we can kind of go in and sit them down with Tom or walk them around with Tom as fast as we can, then it's a lot more natural. But the storytelling, the way we do things has not changed at all. It's evolved. We've gotten better at it. We've kind of settled into our formula.
Right, if the formula works, and it does, when I turn it on, I know what I'm going to get. And one of the things I'm going to get is Tom acting silly and trying humor that often doesn't work, which reminds me of Johnny Carson. Some of his most funniest moments is when he told a joke that bombed and then he tried to recover. And
Right.
Tom, he tries some humor. I just sort of go, wow, talk about
Yeah.
dad humor.
Yes. And one of Tom's, and I kind of share this with him. One of Tom's, his key humor tools is self-deprecation. He's always making fun of himself.
Sure.
He's always the guy that can't do anything right, or he can't do anything well. One of my favorite lines from a show that we did in Hamtramck is he was going into a vintage clothing store, and his opening line for it was, there's some guys that have a look. He's like, I look like a guy who's looking for a look.
It takes a lot of time to put together even a half-hour show or a 15-minute video that I do. How long does it take you to produce one show?
We'll break it into the two parts of production. You have production and post-production. Production is when you're out, when you're shooting.
Right.
So on average, a show has 5 or 6 segments total. So if you do that math, you're talking, 15 to 20 hours of actual shooting per episode. Then that doesn't take into account drive time and all that. And then the hard part, which is the post-production end of it. I would say my process for doing that part of it is probably 30 to 40 man hours.
Now you realize you just rubbed your eyes when you talked about post-production. Like, my eyes are so tired.
Did I twitch a little bit? Because you're talking about 80, 90 hours, man hours of post-production that goes into putting one show together.
Right. And it's one of those things, the more you learn about this, the more you start being aware of how good other people are and how well they smooth it. It's like trying to be a good singer, then you listen to a great singer and you go, wow, I really can appreciate that now. One of the things I think Under the Radar does so well is it makes us proud to be Michiganders. I grew up in Midland, Michigan. I was born in Grand Rapids, came back to Ann Arbor after 17 years away from Michigan, and I really missed the fresh water and my family, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So are you a Michigander, and what is your favorite place of the state? Can you say that?
I can absolutely say. Well, I'm born and raised here in Michigan. For whatever reason, my wife, when I met her in college, was always her dream as a kid was always to move to California, and it was always so foreign to me because I never once growing up thought I got to get out of this state. It's never even been a notion. My family's here. This is where I grew up. It's home. I'm very proud to be from this state. I love the Petoskey, this part of the state up here, Petoskey, Traverse City. As far as going someplace and just the beauty of it, and the little towns, it's just that to me is the purest of Michigan. If somebody from out of town wants to know what is wonderful about our state, think of those areas on Lake Michigan, just beautiful little towns.
We get a lot of international students come to Ann Arbor, and then some people come for business too, and I talk to them, I said, well, have you been up north? Oh no, it's okay. I said, no, you don't get it. Southern Michigan has a totally different feel than north, and I would agree with you. My favorite area is from the Sleeping Bear Dunes over towards Charlevoix. When I talk to my mom about Under the Radar, she loves the segments about the little stores or the factories or the nut shop. And I'm not talking about a place if you've lost your mind,
the nut shop in Lansing.
Yeah, Frankenmuth, places that reminds her of family trips.
Yeah.
So has there been ever a unintended consequence where you went into a small little town and it just didn't go very smoothly? You don't have to name the town, just
No. People will ask me, because this is always my catchphrase is that on Under the Radar, we will always paint a pretty picture. So we might go to a town where we're like, oh my God, this place, this is awful. But you know what? Sometimes in these towns, you find these wonderful people who, really care about that town, and they're really trying to do something about it. And then you feel great that you were there, And I didn't realize you were from Dexter. I love downtown Dexter is great. And in fact, during this quarantine, we've actually gone out and walked the river trail there with the kids. It's a half an hour from here.
Yeah.
I would never have gone out to Dexter and known that was there had I not gone with Under the Radar. And hopefully, people that watch the show, have that same reaction. We're like, I'm going to go, how far is that? Yes.
Well, Eric, I really appreciate the time you've given me, and you've really been a help for me. And at some point, I want you to come in and give me some more tips and show me how to do a better job.
At some point, we'll be able to do that.
I hope you enjoyed the show today. It's been a little different, but I want to leave you with a scripture of encouragement. In Proverbs 31:24, we read, "Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all who hope in the Lord." Hang on, have hope. We will get past this. We appreciate your cooperation and your support as staff, as colleagues, and we want to enjoy this summer in Michigan as much as you do. God bless.